Santa Fe has been the number one smaller city or town on our list of the best places to live and work as a movie maker for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
No town has ever done that in the years and years we've put together this list. What do you think are the unique qualities of Santa Fe that have helped it achieve this?
So thank you for the question. So I think one of the reasons why Santa Fe has been at the top of the list is we're in the small city category, and Santa Fe, for the amount of people, the population in Santa Fe, which is around 100,000, about 130 would count the county, but about 100,000, a little under 100,000 in the city. And when you look at all the resources that we have in such a small city, we have 3 studios for a total of 9 sound stages that range from 3,000 square feet to 24,000 square feet. We have 7 Western sets that all look entirely different. We have amazing, just natural locations where it's a great place to do a road trip movie, because people don't understand that Santa Fe actually is in the Rocky Mountains. We're actually higher than Park City. So when we're trucking around Main Street, we feel pretty good because we're acclimated with the altitude. But we're at 7,200 feet, where Park City, I think, is about 68. And we're at the end of the Rocky Mountain chain, and we get the 4 seasons, and we also have the high desert, but we have the Alpines. So we have so many different looks for road trip movies, for Westerns, for the zombie movie, the horror movie. We can do it all with the stages and the principal locations, and all within a very confined area. So you could, for example, News of the World, Tom Hanks movie, 2019, the character, he had to go on a 600-mile journey, and they did it all within 30 miles. But you would never know that, just because of, camera movie magic and all that. But it was all done just in Santa Fe County. So I think that was a large part of it. We also have a lot of above the line that live in Santa Fe. They make Santa Fe their home. We also have the experienced crew for the below the line. We have amazing schools and training programs. So it's the whole ecosystem that I think really works for our city. And the one thing about Santa Fe too is we're not surrounded by other metropolitan cities that we really draw from. Santa Fe is a destination. We also have 5 pueblos in Santa Fe County. So for all the indigenous storytelling that goes on, you can get the authentic filming on pueblos. But we are very much a destination to get to. Albuquerque is the closest. They're about a 50-minute drive south of us, a very easy 50-minute drive. But we don't pull from other metropolitan areas. So it truly is a small city when you're coming to Santa Fe.
Oppenheimer, we haven't even talked about, but all of the downtown bureaucratic Washington scenes, those are also Santa Fe. Obviously, where they're testing the explosives, that's New Mexico desert. But also that small cramped room where they're doing all the interrogations is like a municipal, it's like a union municipal fund or something. Like just these great locations that you guys have that are so unique and special.
So Tim's talking about one of our government buildings that's downtown. If for those of you who don't know, Santa Fe is the capital of our state. We're the oldest capital in the United States, and we can say that because we were the capital of the territory before we became a state in 1912. So we've been the capital since the 1600s when it was a territory. And we're also the highest capital city in the United States. But we also have these amazing old capital type buildings and historic buildings. And so when they shot Oppenheimer in Santa Fe, all the hearing scenes, when you saw all the scenes when they were in the hearings, that was just in one of our government buildings right downtown. Yeah.
Please.
Oh, yeah. Let me add about Oppenheimer that once Nolan and his team figured out that they could get 25% on everything they moved to Santa Fe, they started moving more and more shoots to Santa Fe.
Oh yeah, Starry State, the state film office is here. They're in the back. I didn't even mention our incentives. So I was just bragging about the locations and everything else and our resources, but we do have amazing incentives in the state of New Mexico too. We start at 25% for all qualified spends. We have no minimum spend. So you can come in with a $5,000 project and get that 25% back if at all qualified. And then we also can go up. There's uplifts, it's getting into the weeds, but it can get up to 30, 35, 40%.
Bonuses for shooting a television show, for shooting on designated sound stages or movie ranches, for shooting outside of Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Just an incredible amount of incentives, really the best that you're going to get anywhere. Liesette, how did it feel to become Oscar accredited?
It was really amazing. We're heading into our third year being an Oscar qualifying festival. And it's been really a whirlwind. It's really sometimes when you work in film, people don't always understand what a film festival is. They don't understand why film festivals are important. And they might not always know even the biggest director you mention. It can maybe not always, even Christopher Nolan, sometimes people don't know, but everybody knows the Academy, everybody knows the Oscars. And so kind of having that type of recognition really makes it more of a household name, not just in New Mexico, but in the surrounding areas as well, and really the United States. It's been really, really cool. One of our winners this year just got nominated for Best Short Film, All the Empty Rooms.
Yeah, an incredible movie. So many festivals try to get Academy qualification. Did they tell you why you got it?
So Santa Fe's really cool. We actually have more Academy voters in Santa Fe and Albuquerque than anywhere outside of New York or LA. So we have people like Shirley MacLaine live in New Mexico. And a lot of kind of other people have decided to retire in New Mexico or come to New Mexico because they really just fall in love with it. They come for a shoot, they come to visit, and then they decide that's really where they want to be. So we've been really lucky to have not just people come here and shoot their movie and leave, but people come here, they shoot their movie and they stay. So I think that's something really special, and the type of film community we have there is growing. So right now we have those very high numbers, and they're just getting higher.
I wanted to mention how Jen and I met. A few years ago, my wife and I and our very small kids were driving across the country, and we thought, oh, hey, we should stop off in Santa Fe. Like, seems like a cool town. Why don't we reach out to the film commissioner while we're there? So I sent an email, and she said, great, come by at 8:15 at this, cool little restaurant. We'll hang out. And so I showed up. It's 8:15. It's 8:20. It's 8:30. And I'm going, oh, this is weird. So I sent her a text, and she goes, Tim, we were going to meet in July. It's June. And she shows up within 5 minutes and takes us on this incredible tour of the most remarkable places I've been, like multiple movie ranches, seeing like We're Young Guns 2, which is the movie that my friends and I swore by when we were kids. Took us to a casino that had been converted into a film studio, took us to all the like Oppenheimer spots and all these amazing spots. And she did that with no warning whatsoever. I say you're kind of like the sheriff in town. Everybody knows you.
I got the hat.
You just kind of show up and say, hey, can we go look around the studio? And they're like, oh, yeah, and open it up. And it's just absolutely astonishing. So how did you build those kinds of relationships? I mean, you seem like you really love the town.
I do. And I just have to backtrack. That was a moment of panic. I was literally rolling out of my driveway and heading to meet, I think, with the mayor that morning, actually. And I was rolling, and that's when I quick looked at my emails, and it was supposed to be like July 3rd, and it was June 3rd. And I already had the whole day all set up and everything. So the one good thing is the day was already set up. So they all knew that you were coming. But then on my way into town, I've got a 15-minute drive into the office, or into where we were going to have breakfast. So on my way in, I just called everybody down that list and just said, they're here a month early. And it was just so fortuitous that everybody just happened to be around. They dropped everything they were doing for Tim and Deidre. But it was a lovely morning. It was a great day. And to your question, I think just you have to have some kind of passion or love for this industry to do what you're doing, especially in a film commission role, because we're not just here to help with the day-to-day and the permitting and the help with the locations, and our office will help put together lookbooks for your project. And we do all that, but we're very much a concierge service also. So we're here to help you get your film done, but we're also here for those of you, especially that aren't living in Santa Fe, but you're living in Santa Fe for maybe a couple months, for example, of a relationship. It was Mother's Day 2 years ago. Paul Greengrass was filming The Last Bus and had a toothache on Mother's Day. And I get a call that the director has a toothache on Sunday and call time is 10 o'clock on Monday. And can you help us? So here I am calling my dentist on his emergency line. He's in New York, but his best friend is an oral surgeon in Santa Fe. And so called the oral surgeon. They got him in at 6:30 in the morning Monday and was ready to do a root canal if he needed it. But it's the connections and it's those types of resources and those types of relationships that we really pride ourselves on as a film office, because we just extend it back to the filmmakers and we just want to make it the best experience. But you really have to love what you're doing, because it's not just you all know, it's not an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday job. It's whenever we're needed, we're going to be there and we answer our phones. So it's just the love of making movies, making commercials, high-end photo shoots, and music videos, all that stuff falls through our office.
Yeah, and our magazine, I mean, obviously it's not the same as a film production, but I kind of feel like we're a canary in the coal mine sometimes because if a film commission doesn't give us the time of day or drops the ball dealing with us or something, how are they going to treat a little filmmaker? And you all are always spot on with everything. The entire state of New Mexico is spot on everything every time.
One of the things we could pride ourselves on is that whether you're a student film or you're a 100 million tentpole feature, you're going to get the same service from the office, and you're going to get the same service from all the resources and all the people that are in the industry. It doesn't matter if you're a student film or not. You're going to get all that same treatment from us, and we'll make the same introductions no matter what.
Yeah, amen. Jacques and Liesette, can you talk about how sort of the culture of Santa Fe feeds into the film culture and vice versa? I mean, I think about all of the art that I see when I'm there. You're a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You have the Indian Arts Festival every year. How does everybody sort of raise all boats?
So Santa Fe is one of UNESCO's 20 creative cities. It's got a street called Canyon Road that's galleries from beginning to end. It has the biggest Indian American art market in the world, or American Indian art market in the world. That's called Indian Market by Swaya. And the way the movies and the art is kind of hand in glove in Santa Fe. Movies have been made there since the days of D.W. Griffith and Billy Wilder. And then, of course, more recently, the exciting Best Picture winners, No Country for Old Men and Oppenheimer. And, so many along the way, Lust in the Dust, Twins with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger has that great scene where they walk downtown in front of the cathedral. And so we also have so many great filmmakers living and working there, like Chris Eyre from Smoke Signals and now Dark Winds. And so a show like Dark Winds kind of picked up the mantle from Breaking Bad, where there's all these great crews working in Santa Fe and Albuquerque, and they all came off of Breaking Bad, and then we're able to transition to Dark Winds.
And now a lot of them are going over to Pluribus. So if anyone's seen that one yet. So Vince Gilligan does live in Santa Fe. He takes everything to Albuquerque. I have to talk to him about that. But at least it's still in the state. But so we love Vince Gilligan. But yeah, the amount of talent that is in Santa Fe, I'm learning all the time of people that are have retired to Santa Fe or still active in Santa Fe. I'm going to age myself right now. But if you all remember Mr. Bill from Saturday Night Live, y'all remember, oh no, it's Mr. Bill. He lives in Santa Fe. Yes. And I tell you, I don't really get starstruck, but when he reached out to me to said that he wanted to meet with me and that he was Mr. Bill, oh my, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for that meeting, and I don't ever take pictures with anybody. And I asked if I could take a picture with him, and he owns Mr. Bill. So if anybody ever wants to use Mr. Bill for anything, he actually owns Mr. Bill. So it's just that kind of fun talent and the type of the caliber of talent that's in the Santa Fe region. It's every day. It's something new.
Of all the people you've met,
I know.
Mr. Bill, I love it. It is kind of a town where a lot of people live there without anyone realizing that they live there. Like a lot of very big A-list names, and I guess you kind of want to keep it that way and not blow up their spot. But you do have sort of a history of people coming out and shooting a film there and then falling in love with it.
And that's so true. So we do have just so much. I just met someone at a event just up the street, and he was a big exec for NBC Universal, but never knew that he lived right in a town just south of Santa Fe. And he's here and he's retired. And then you have the Shirley MacLaines of the world, and and Robert Redford had his home, also Robert Bob. So that huge loss lives with him, but. George R. R. Martin, he's the author of Game of Thrones, lives in Santa Fe. He's lived there for 40 years. You would have never known it. And then now with Game of Thrones success, now everybody knows George, and everything that he brings to the community as well. But people just leave the community, the people of the community pretty much just leaves the talent alone or anybody recognizable. And even like when Tom Hanks was here, he was here for 2 movies in a row, and everyone just, that's Tom Hanks. But they leave him alone, So unless you get someone like Mario Lopez who wants to be seen and wants to have pictures with everybody, and then, but still even people were, they're hesitant about it. But I just feel like our community, we're really a film friendly community, and our community, they're not really fazed by the big A-listers that come through.
How has the festival served as kind of a hub for the entire film community of New Mexico? Because you are the biggest film festival in New Mexico. You really see like deals being made there. You see people, becoming friends before your eyes and then coming back and collaborating years later. How's that experience been?
It's been really incredible. I think bringing in some really amazing people, like honoring Bryan Cranston, who has such a large presence and kind of even though he doesn't live there, he basically, we've adopted him. He's ours. And it's just been really fun. This past year, we awarded Edward James Olmos, and that was really wonderful. He's another one that with Selena, we all growing up, that was kind of the biggest movie, at least for me, that had been shot in New Mexico, and kind of the beginning of that kind of modern film crew in New Mexico was this major movie, Selena, that still really lives on. And then I think somebody like Godfrey Reggio, he lives there, and we were able to do the world premiere of his newest film, Once Within a Time, and really having his presence at the festival year after year, and kind of encouraging that, although he'd hate if I said it was experimental filmmaking, kind of this out there vision that could really only be bred in New Mexico for his newest film. And then somebody like Wes Studi, who's on our advisory board. He's, been in so much, Academy Award recipient, and he's really made he's lived in Santa Fe for so long, and he's been with the festival since its inception and just really nurtured it, and been there kind of anytime we need anything from Wes, he's there. And then one of our newest advisory board members, Cassidy Freeman, she's in a movie here at Sundance, Chasing Summer, so we're excited to see her on the big screen at Sundance. But I think it's kind of the festival becomes a hub and a place that people can really meet, and we give space for people to breathe, where a lot of times people are scheduled kind of back to back on things, but we really give space for people to meet, to breathe, to get to know each other, so they can come and bring their next film here. We are lucky enough to have Jen host a little tour, a big tour of all our filming locations for our filmmakers and press. We had filmmakers from 5 different countries, and my personal favorite part of the tour is the best celebrity in Santa Fe is Clyde the Buffalo. So you might know him from the Banana Republic ads. Basically, anytime you see a buffalo, it's probably Clyde, and it's just about the greatest thing you can experience if you come to Santa Fe.
I met him and he's really nice. He was really normal. Like, not weird at all. There was a guy on that tour who had moved to Santa Fe from Hawaii, if you want to know how nice Santa Fe is. There's something that I think is kind of this is going to get a little maybe too spiritual for some people, but there's something about just being somewhere that's replenishing and that just makes your soul feel better and is sort of you get up every day and feel good and want to be creative. There's definitely places where you can live where it's sort of soul sapping, but this feels like a place that just replenishes you every day. Is that something that you think attracts filmmakers? Is that why you all are there?
Well, one of the things I can say when we do these scouts with the office and, show filmmakers around who've never been to Santa Fe, and this should be my tagline for the office, but I always get from the producer or director, whoever it is we're showing around, we're leaving, and they always say, holy shit, I had no idea. Like I get that every single time. And I'm a government office, so I can't use that word. I can't do it. But that's generally the same message that I'm always getting. And it's really it's the same message that there's just a peace about Santa Fe. There's a peace in the air. Like I said, about our elevation, our crystal blue skies, our seasons, our sunshine. And it is very spiritual. It's something you can't really explain. The air is super clean. I mean, talk about golden hour and having all the amazing light, just that unfiltered light that our cinematographers there's no matching it. And then there's just the whole with all of our cultures, and we're all living together and blending together and respecting one another. And it's very much a food town, and it's very much with the arts and the culture and embracing just creativity. So it's a lot of like-mindedness that's there. And so it's a slower pace of life. I mean, we get things done, but it's just a little bit of a slower pace of life. Traffic, it's pretty minimal. We really don't have traffic. And everyone knows one another because it is a small town, or everyone's a cousin. That was something I learned pretty early on. Never want to, you never know who you're talking to because it could be somebody's cousin or something. So the families, they run deep. The culture runs deep. It's been around for centuries, these families. And so there's just a pride that comes with Santa Fe and everyone that lives there and visits.
And I add to that just a little bit about the natural beauty and the Ghost Ranch is when you see Los Alamos, the set that's built to replicate Los Alamos in Oppenheimer. That takes place at Ghost Ranch. And those are the settings that inspired Georgia O'Keeffe once upon a time. And Santa Fe is hippy-dippy, but it's definitely experiencing a lot of new development. And it's the kind of place where people come and they just get swept away in it. And they say, oh, I visited here 30 years ago and I thought this is where I want to live.
And definitely like the architecture, the architecture and just the whole feel of Santa Fe. There's no other place like it. People think maybe we're like a Phoenix or a Tucson or a Scottsdale, and we're not. And nothing compares to what our architecture is, the way the buildings are, just the feel of it, the streets. It's funny because in the whole downtown area around the plaza, it's cattle trails, and they literally paved over the existing cattle trails from back in the day. So we're not on a grid. We're kind of doing this on our streets, and we have the old Santa Fe Trail that runs in, and the Camino Real Trail, and so we have all those historic trails from the 1800s, and we literally just paved over them. So it kind of still has that historic charm to it with a little concrete now, asphalt.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, when I was watching, I know this is more Albuquerque, but when I was watching The Smashing Machine, where he's supposed to live in Phoenix, you can just tell it's not Phoenix because the architecture isn't quite right. It's so specific. There's nowhere else quite like it. You can double for a lot of other places, but no one can double for you. Very special quality to have. I don't want to forget to ask about all of the stuff that George R.R. Martin has in town, including a train, an insane museum, a bookstore, a theater. Can you just talk about the influence that he's had on the creative spirit of the town?
Gurm, as we call him, or Grum as we call him, George R. R. Martin, he's been really wonderful to Santa Fe. I think he kind of laid low until the HBO show came out. And that's when he really started to put his mark on Santa Fe. He reopened a theater called the Jean Cocteau Cinema. He has a bookstore called Beastly Books. And then him and Bill Banowski, the founder of Magnolia Pictures, bought an old train that had been broken down for many years. It's called Sky Railway now, and they use it for the movies. Jen could probably tell you which ones you've seen it on. And yeah, they have a fun like dragon painted on it, and it's pretty whimsical. So I think that's kind of he's a big train guy, so I think it was fun for him to buy his own train. And he's been a great supporter of the film festival. We honored him many years ago, and he's still been a strong supporter. And yeah, it's really cool to have somebody like him. Also, Julia Cameron lives in Santa Fe, so as far as really Santa Fe getting your creative juices flowing, I can't think of anybody else that could really tell you how to unlock your inner artist than Julia Cameron. Living in Santa Fe kind of speaks for itself.
He tells this story about when he bought the movie theater. He says, "I have many minions, but on that night I was picking up the barbecue." And he drives by the theater and he thinks, somebody ought to buy that theater and remodel it and open it again. And then he thought to himself, well, I am somebody. And then he said, with this, I may lose my shirt, but I've got other shirts.
And there's also a super cool venue called Meow Wolf. And Meow Wolf, you all might have heard of it because it originated in Santa Fe, but now they're in Dallas and Las Vegas and Colorado and Denver, I think. And it's expanding, but that's another example of George R. R. Martin. He helped fund, it was an old bowling alley in Santa Fe, and he was one of the early on investors in it and saw the need with this open space, and it was just a place for artists to go do their art. And now it's kind of, the best way to describe it is like an Alice in Wonderland on acid kind of a thing. Not that I would know what that would be like, but that's how I could imagine although I was White Rabbit at Disneyland. That was my first job. But anyway, it's just this wild venue that you walk into, and it's become an iconic landmark in Santa Fe, one of our newer ones. And Meow Wolf has really morphed from that and is now going national, but it was all because of George's belief in our local artists, and was able to put some of his personal money into this investment, and it just grew from there. So we have him to thank for Meow Wolf as well.